is Brannon Howse Live. Whether the issue is law, science, economics, history, family, social issues, education, religion, government, or national security, Brannon brings the issues of the day into clear focus through the lens of a Judeo-Christian worldview. And now, here is your host, Brannon Howse.
And good evening. Welcome on this June 19th, 2025. Well, we have news tonight. The Trump administration is going to boost monitoring of possible Iran-backed terror cells in the U.S. Well, that's exactly what we've been warning about for weeks and weeks. I'm finally glad someone in the mainstream media is going to talk about it, because if America is going to get involved, this has been one of my big sticking points. Are the American people ready for what could happen? We can't be talking about getting involved in an offensive way. I have no problem with being involved defensively. As I've said, intelligence, selling them weaponry, whatever. I don't want boots on the ground. I am a Christian Zionist. But guess what? I'll bless those who bless you. I'll curse those who curse you is not talking about the Israeli government, every government that comes and goes. It's the Jewish people. And it's also understanding the blessing they'll be to us through their heritage, which gave us the line of Messiah, right? So I stand with the Jewish people. I'm a Christian Zionist. You're not going to find anyone else that has a strong, a long history in broadcasting with documentaries and radio shows and TV shows and books defending the Jewish people. But that doesn't mean I agree with every government that comes and goes in Israel. But should we be involved defensively? I have no problem with that. Helping them knock down missiles coming in? No problem with that. Boots on the ground? No. And if we do this offensively, which again, Benjamin Netanyahu is saying tonight, we can do it all on our own. I'd say let them do it then. Let them do it. But if we get involved, have we prepared the American people? Because if we don't, it's going to be a backlash onto President Trump and his administration, and it's going to be a boomerang onto Israel. Israel's going to get blamed for everything, and anti-Semitism will skyrocket. If we haven't informed the American people about what's at risk. And again, if we're going to put a lot of money and effort and energy into fighting them over there, why not here? That's why I wrote my article the other day about this schizophrenic policy between national, domestic, and international. We have mosques all over this country preaching jihad and overthrowing the government, going to Sharia. And we coddle them. We even got NGO money, I'm told, government money. We let them do this right here. But then we act like the real enemies overseas. Well, there is an enemy overseas with Islam, yes. But if we're not going to do anything about them here in our country, on our soil, then why are we worrying about them over there? We have to be consistent. But at least someone in the mainstream media tonight is talking about this. I'm going to get on this with Shahram Hadian. Then I'm going to have on David Pine for an update. I'm going to have on Annie for an update. And then I'm going to have on Dr. Bashima Williams to talk about anxiety. You have any anxiety, folks? In all this crazy world, you have any anxiety, stress? Maybe you're like, well, I don't have a lot of anxiety, but I have stress. Okay. Do you know how to literally help your body reset? How you help your body reset and reset your brain? We'll talk about that tonight. I'm not talking goofy, stuff. I'm not talking yoga and transcendental meditation and all that stuff. I'm just talking about naturally how your body helps to reset itself into a relaxed stage versus a very hyper setting stage. That's a very interesting conversation tonight with a functional medicine doctor, an MD, Dr. Bashima Williams. All right. We'll get into all that. First up is Shahram Hadian. Shahram, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Brannon. Great to be back with you again.
Look at this headline from CBS News. Trump administration boosts monitoring of possible Iran-backed cells in U.S. as Trump waves strikes, sources say. FBI Director Kash Patel has increased efforts to monitor possible domestic sleeper cells linked to Hezbollah. That's Iran, obviously. There you go. This is exactly what we have been talking about for weeks and weeks. The American people need to be prepared. This is why we were saying, hey, we need an address from the Oval Office talking about the threats here, and then we got to deal with these threats. And the more we get involved with our ally Israel, the more threats rise here. So we have to be taking care of the home front. And while we deal with our ally and help our ally in an offensive manner. But I'm still saying no boots on the ground. And I'm saying if Benjamin Netanyahu says, hey, I can do this on my own, which he came out and said today, I say, God bless him, let him do it. I think it'll help set up Bible prophecy by making them a stronger nation, which is why I think you'll have to have a coalition of nations coming against Israel and Ezekiel. So I think that would actually be good for Israel to be bold and strong, that they didn't have to lean on us too much, right? But tonight, this report by CBS News. Now, what is your thoughts on this?
Well, I have several thoughts. First of all, you're absolutely right. This is exactly what we've been warning about, not just for this year, but for multiple years.
Yep.
Brannon, you and I have been talking to, I mean, we go back to the days of Congresswoman Sue Myrick, when we had her on your program. I think she was on your program, or we covered her warning back then about the hundreds of Hezbollah cells coming through the southern border, coming in from Venezuela. They were getting passports through Venezuelan passports. They, look Hispanic. So this has been a concern for many, many years, and that they were waiting for the right time. And remember, I said to you last week when I was on with you that my greatest concern was not Iran being able to hit America with a ballistic missile, hypersonic missile, and even maybe the concept of a dirty bomb. The greatest concern was proxies, was domestic terror cells, was those who were here who are lying in wait. And now they're even more dangerous, because if they are not able to communicate directly, these cells are now on their own. The problem is that there has not been the communication from both within the government, the media, and even Christians who should be understanding this is a real threat to America. And the second point, I 100% agree with you. Number one, let Israel go at it. Let them finish what they have started, what I believe is his calling right now for Netanyahu, for Israel. And number two, where is the focus on the homeland? Remember I said the other night, you get rid of Iran. Okay, you got rid of this regime. What about the Pakistanis in America? What about the Muslim Brotherhood? What about the Egyptians? What about the Turks? What about all the other fronts that we face from the red-green axis that ought to be top priority? And exactly right, a cornered Iran is the most dangerous, because in fact, Brannon, right before you called me to come on tonight, I was talking to one of my sources from Iran, and they're not in Iran currently, they're out, but was giving me an update. The regime there is beginning to, now when I say regime, IRGC, whoever is left standing, they're beginning to kill Iranians. They're beginning to kill Christians in the prisons. They are ready to burn the house down. They're not going to leave with the house standing. And if they're that desperate there, then guess what they're going to do here? So that plays into exactly the concern that you're bringing up.
Well, that's the headline tonight from the Daily Mail. That's the headline tonight from CBS News. So that's the Daily Mail, okay?
Right.
This is CBS News, okay? Now let me show you another headline. Border Patrol agents shut down massive drug smuggling tunnel between Tijuana and San Diego, okay?
Right.
Now that's tonight, June 19th. We mentioned this, I think I did yesterday briefly on one of my broadcasts, because here we have pictures of these, okay? We have pictures of these. 3,000-foot drug smuggling tunnel between Tijuana, Mexico and San Diego, equipped with lighting, ventilation systems, and tracks to move narcotics.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, they say they discovered it while it was actually actively under construction, but that doesn't mean they still couldn't gotten something through. And this is just probably one of many. But this is what we have talked about in our broadcast before. The cooperation between the drug cartels and the terrorists, right? Yes. And Dave Govitz, who went and did this work for us in Texas with Epic and these other things and gave our sworn affidavit report, has said on this radio show many times that these cartels, they want money. Todd Bensman have said they just want money. They'll gladly take the money of China, Iran. They work with China already, which is in alliance with Iran. They work with China to get the chemicals for the precursor chemicals for fentanyl. You telling me that these same terror cells terror tunnels aren't being used by terror cells? How do we know terror cells aren't helping the drug cartels build them and pay for them if they also get to use them? So we don't know what's here. We have already the CCP, 2 people being caught coming through with biological chemicals. What else is here when you have, as G. Von Fleet said the other night, and as Gordon Chang has said, and other experts, the CCP is behind this too. This is not an isolated, Iran's out there. They are in a military and economic alliance with other enemies, including North Korea, China, etc. So here we now have these terror cells.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly
these tunnels that can be used by these terror cells to come in and bring stuff in here.
Yeah, exactly. First of all, where do we see those terror cells, right? We see them in Gaza. We've seen them on the northern border of Israel. This is where they're learning from. I believe that this technology that the cartels are using has come from Hezbollah, has come from the proxies of Iran. Again, working with Venezuela, working with China. We saw how many flights now? 4 flights, 5 flights that have gone from China into Iran that then all of a sudden they get over the country of Iran and they go off the radar. We don't know what is in those planes. What is being shared? Is it military? Is it technology? Now, here's what we do know. The problem is that our law enforcement is woefully prepared for this threat because for years we have decimated the understanding, the ideology, the tactical approach of these type of sleeper cells, whether they're Iran proxies, from this regime in Iran, i.e. Hezbollah, as you said, or whether they're connected to China, working with the Syrians, working with the Afghanis, working with the Pakistanis. When we cannot even recognize the threat ideology of those who say we want to kill you, we're going to take you over, we're going to sabotage you and destroy your house, as the Muslim Brotherhood has said in America, we then turn and we say our greatest threat is violent extremism. Our greatest threat is white supremacy. Our greatest threat is domestic terrorism, where we can count on one hand the number of white supremacists in this country that are roaming around. But we have no clue, Brannon, how many of these cells are truly in America. And I'm not sure that this FBI, remember, this is the same FBI that allowed Garland, Texas to happen, that did not warn Pamela Geller. This is the same FBI that has done nothing when we sent in the letters of all the threats that you and I got of throwing acid in our faces and our wives' faces and God forbid. This is the same FBI.
Which did nothing, and said to us, oh, well, we have to have an actual, when we got these threats, it was like, well, we have to have an actual specific threat. And then when they got specific and we called them back, they said, oh, well, we'll send that over. And we did. And then they called back, oh, well, we can't do anything. I mean, they lied to us. They lied to us all along the way. Yeah.
So they are not prepared. That's what keeps me up at night. And oh, by the way, and this is, I know lots of people out there like their favorite preacher or their favorite prophet, but you got people coming online right now, some well-known pastors going out there saying, I got a prophetic word that there are sleeper cells in America.
Oh, wow, that's so prophetic.
Yeah, it's so prophetic.
Yeah, it's so prophetic. There's books and TV shows and everything about it for a gazillion years, ding-a-ling.
Exactly. We've been warning about this for a decade, if not more, and we've been saying this since last year, that this was our greatest concern this summer, was these proxies and sleeper cells in America, whether from Iran or whether in coalition with other countries. So listen, to the point of what you said the other day, we haven't heard anything. Okay, at least thank God we're hearing something now. At least they're saying we're monitoring. But what are you going to do about it? I mean, if you're monitoring, what are you going to do to proactively shut them down? Do they have to wait till they act before they say, oh, now we're going to? So I hope that's not the case.
And can you imagine what one even if they did a dirty bomb, which again,
Right.
I'm not going to tell people how you make one. I'm not sure I would know fully how to do it. Obviously, I don't know how to do it. But I do know that you can take things that are used in hospitals and X-ray rooms and use what is left over when those things are picked up and disposed and done away with. If people get their hands on certain used medical equipment, they can use that, as I understand, in a dirty bomb. Now, a dirty bomb, for those who maybe don't know, an explosion goes off and it throws radioactive material into the air. And it will only affect that small area, which is, of course, obviously a problem for those who are affected by it, breathe it in, right? But the damage would not be anywhere near like a nuclear device, but the psychological damage. So even if you had 4 or 5 dirty bombs go off in major cities in the U.S. on the same day, the psychological impact on the country, that's what part of terrorism is about, right? And then what it would do to your economy and everything else. And then, of course, God knows what would happen after that as far as our own government using it to strip us of more liberties and freedoms like the Patriot Act. So we have to pray that none of this happens because the Lord is in charge, right? But we know that we live in a sinful, fallen world. And God starts to remove his hand of protection when we don't obey him, as our nation has done. We don't always obey him. I don't always obey him. But when a nation as a whole starts doing those things over and over, suppressing the truth and unrighteousness, celebrating LGBTQ and all these kind of things, then God starts removing his hand, and then God just steps back and lets people do what's in their simple heart. God's not the author of evil or confusion and doesn't cause these things to happen, but he may remove his hand of protection. So this is why it's so important that we bring a Christian and biblical worldview to all areas of life, right? But even a simple dirty bomb in a couple cities could wreak havoc psychologically on the country. It doesn't even have to be a full-fledged small nuclear device.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's exactly what my concern was, is that in the desperation of this regime, and I know we don't have time right now to talk about what I think the White House is signaling.
Well, give it to me in the Cliff Note version. What are they signaling? They're going to wait maybe 2 weeks, but that could be 2 days, not 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. Well, first of all, it's the 2-week statement, that it could be up to 2 weeks, which in my opinion, could be signaling that we really don't want to do anything as far as hitting Fordo, as far as, giving the 30,000-pound bombs or whatever. Maybe they're going to help with defending Israel, at least with Iron Dome or with other technology that needs to be there. But my concern is that now I'm hearing from these influencers like Charlie Kirk and other people. Nikki Haley came out today. No regime change. We cannot have regime change. We cannot be about regime change. Now, I said, remember when we were on with Hedier, right? The other night we were on last week, earlier this week. We said U.S. sucks at regime change, right? I don't want the U.S. picking who comes, but I do believe that the U.S. should support regime change morally.
If we don't do a regime change, in my opinion, this is all for naught.
And not only all for naught, it's going to get worse, because now you have this regime that is ramped up. Again, in the call that I had before you called me, before we came on, my sources telling me things in Iran in the last 7 days have got 100 times worse for the Iranians, because this regime is absolutely right now going brutal. They know the end is coming, and they're going to burn the whole house down. They told me that Christians are now being murdered in the prisons. The Christians that have been in jail, they're now being murdered. They're systematically picking up people who anybody, that's why they shut off the internet, right? They shut off the internet. Also, they shut off the internet because that way the warnings that Israel's trying to give, because we just got word that they may be hitting Rasht, which is the northern part of Iran where I was born, right on the Caspian Sea. Israel has given a warning that we're going to hit some sites up there. But if there's no internet, how is that going to get to the people? How are they going to get out of harm's way? And if they're rounding up anybody. So already he's saying the level of brutality has gone up tenfold, maybe 100-fold. So this is the only moment. This is the moment. And for the United States, potentially, and these right-wing influencers like Charlie Kirk to come out and say, we cannot engage in regime change. If you're saying we don't pick, sure, I agree with that. But if you're saying we're not going to support regime change right now, even if the Iranian people want it, And even on Fox News last night, and I hate that, I don't even try to watch them very much anymore, but, Jesse Waters and these guys coming out, no, they're not going to support Reza Pahlavi. I talked to my source in Iran who said the majority of the people will get behind Reza Pahlavi because there is a transition plan. I don't believe that Pahlavi wants to be able to be the king again, but he can come in and facilitate an interim government. And of course, you saw some of the rumblings today that there potentially are some defections coming out of the army over to Pahlavi. Again, according to him, he's claiming that he's being contacted by those outside the country and inside the country saying, we're ready to back you. But if America gets in the way, Lord help us.
Yep. And then finally, I have to let you go, I know, but look at this. Fox News 11 in Los Angeles reports that more than 95 tunnels have been decommissioned in the San Diego area since 1993. That's just the San Diego area. Think about all the different tunnels and what is here. So here's the thing. We don't know what's here. And national intelligence guys who've had a corner office with 600 agents answering to them who are friends of mine, he's now retired, but he told me then, we don't know what's here. We have no clue what's here. And this is why we were saying we need to prepare the American people. And I felt like that was not going on. The American people were not being told about what they need to prepare for. One last thing. Look at this. This is crazy. September 12th, 2024, Iran turns to Hell's Angels and other criminal gangs to target critics. I mean, how many people know about this?
That's crazy. That's crazy. I had not even seen that. That's crazy.
And remember, it was Dave Gobbets who said that in the mosque, they were telling them to go out and partner up with the gangs who have the submachine guns and all these things. So I would have never thought, hey, guys on biker gangs, you might want to be leery of them, particularly someone like you and myself who are critics. I wouldn't think I'd be looking for someone, maybe looking a little more Islamic. But now you got to wait a minute, what biker gang is that you might have good grief, the local town.
That one is out there. That one is out there. But the gangs is not out there. Again, if the cartels and all the gangs that are, remember, the number one area of conversion to Islam is in the prisons, and the number one group of those conversions are gang members. So that has been a fact for a number of years. And it remains a huge concern, the inner working, because like you said earlier, well said, the cartels, they're just about money. They don't have an ideological dog, or skin in the game. They're about the money. It's Islam that has the ideology, and we're still woefully, again, I see this today, this announcement, okay, we're monitoring. What does that mean? And are you going to proactively do something? And I'm still waiting for, is the president going to come out and say, we need to be heightened now, right now, in America, both Jews, both Christians, and anybody that is freedom loving needs to be heightened for all this red-green axis threat.
100%.
It's wishful thinking, but at least I guess we have a step in the right direction. But Lord help us. We got to pray for his divine protection right now.
Amen. TILministry.com. I know you have another appointment. TILministry.com. TILministry.com. Thank you, Sharam.
Thank you, brother. God bless you.
You too, my friend. Hey, the program has just gotten underway. Look what Melissa just brought me into the studio. She brought me what I drink every night, and that is every day I take my Gataton. I give half a scoop to Dolly on her food, and this is one little scoop, and it's a teeny scoop. It's the equivalent of 90 billion plant cells. 5 clinical trials behind this as well, loaded with all kinds of amino acids. It's got trace minerals. It's got all the protein, all these great things that are needed for you. Yeah, go ahead, throw that up there. I love that article coming out of Canada a few years ago. Remember that article? Is that the best one you got? That's a little dark, isn't it? Oh, that's just part of the ad. All right, I think I got a better picture than that one if I can find it real quick. This is the man that developed it. He was given a terminal diagnosis. And so he started just eating the phytoplankton that he was raising for shellfish. And then when he went in for a biopsy, they're like, you're 11 of them, by the way. They're benign. It was benign. And so he went on to live another 10 years. I'm not making claims. I'm just telling you, man, figures plankton stopped his rare cancer. That's the headline. Well, Dave Hunter was working with Tom Harper, that man that went on to live another 10 years, retired in Hawaii, we're told. And we've played the interview of his daughter and him talking about it. That's when Dave Hunter started Global Plankton Alliance. So I take it every day. MelissaHouseGPA.com. MelissaHouseGPA.com. Combine this with my Bella Grace and my Numi. These are the three things I do every day, folks. All right. So I'll set that over there and finish that during the break. But please go there, MelissaHouseGPA.com, MelissaHouseGPA.com. Now, if you want to get a hold of the Bella Grace, which I, again, take that every day, that's at MelissaHouseBG.com. MelissaHouseBG.com. This is a powerful elixir. I take it every day. Collagen with the peptides cut short so your body actually absorbs it. Astaxanthin, that crosses the brain-blood barrier to take on the free radicals in your system. And then it has the cat's claw. That is a bark from a vine in Peru that helps to take out inflammation. A lot of our problems are inflammation related, aren't they? So there you go. You got your Gatatana, you got your Bella Grace, and then the third thing I do is my glutathione. I swish with this for 3 minutes every day. Now, if I feel like I have something coming on and getting sick, I'll swish with this every hour on the hour, because this is glutathione, which is a natural, all natural occurring molecule in your body that starts to decrease around age 20, according to studies I've read. In fact, there are 165,000 studies on glutathione at PubMed. 165,000 studies. So swish with it for about 3 minutes. That way it gets into your system within 90 seconds and it's not broken down. You can go get an IV for about $250, but they say it's broken down when you do that. Swish with it and you're getting it in its totality within 90 seconds. And then after swishing for 3 minutes, you can spit it out or swallow it, whatever you want. And fact studies show it may remove mercury from your brain, helping prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. So 3 great ways to support your health tonight, folks. Bella Grace, Gatatana, and Numi. All of them, by the way, are available for you. If you go to worldviewtube.com/sponsors, you'll find out about all of them. worldviewtube.com/sponsors. July 6, 2005. This is Tom Harper. Man figures plankton stopped his rare cancer. We got more of a response from our viewers than anything else you and I have ever discussed.
Tom Harper, 20 years ago, he had mesothelioma, deadly lung cancer, was given weeks to live, and he just intuitively started to eat the phytoplankton out of his fish tanks because he fed the phytoplankton to his shellfish. He was a shellfish farmer. And when he went in for the surgery, the surgeon came out of the operating room and told his family, I have not ever seen anything like it. The cancer is benign, and Tom Harper lived for years. He retired in Hawaii. We're not making any claim.
Here he is in his own words.
Started on a daily routine of just taking a bit of paste, putting it in my mouth, and wash it down with a drink of water. Within about 10 to 15 days, here I am, less pain in my back. I knew that something was going on, so I just kept eating half a teaspoon of this paste a day. I was booked to go for surgery in Victoria where they were going to do what they call a talc treatment. They went in there to have a look, saw something they never seen before, took 11 sites, sent them away for biopsy. I got the news back. Everything was benign. They just did not know what to make of it. Everything was absolutely clean. And I've tried dieting all my life because I'm a diabetic. If it's a coincidence or not, I don't know. My blood sugar started dropping. My weight started falling off. Here I am, no longer requiring insulin, and I was taking 88 units a day of insulin. I can eat just about what I want in moderation, and I have no elevated sugar levels, and I feel fabulous.
People, you hear the word cancer, and they want you to be instilled with fear. Cancer is nothing but a profound failure of the immune system. And what happened with Tom Harper is the phytoplankton is microscopic. It's God's microscopic food. And the Gatatana is the most nutritionally comprehensive strain phytoplankton in the world. David Hunter studied phytoplankton for 20 years because he worked for Tom Harper and he was there in person and witnessed Tom's recovery. It's about getting pure nutrition inside your cells. And what happens, your body balances again or goes back to homeostasis. And when your body is pH balanced or in homeostasis, disease can't grow. It is literally microscopic, pure single cell plant food with protein and omega-3 fatty acids, omega-6 fatty acids, with amino acids and vitamins and minerals. 1 scoop a day. There's 90 billion plant cells in here just for everyday nutrition and energy and, cognitive support, because this is God's pure nutrition.
Go to melissahousegpa.com today. Discover the science and learn more about the wonderful benefits of Gaditana phytoplankton. That's melissahousegpa.com. melissahousegpa.com.